All right, let's talk about it. There are a lot of people going through lessons, life situations right now, and a lot of people are in despair. So, I'm going to give you information to help you rationalize what is transpiring in your experience so you can truly be able to sit still, reset, and realign to what it is that you need to be understanding about the fulfillment of what you're walking through. So, one of the discoveries over the past months that I have learned in many different ways is that we are all learning what it is to be disciplined. Now, the discipline is coming in waves and it's coming in scenarios that many people are not paying attention to. Even I sometimes dismiss the fact that God is teaching me something. So I say this to say that just, when we look below surface level, what it is in your experience that you're going through has to do with this life lesson called discipline. It doesn't matter if it's about your age, what it pertains to, and we're going to go over the three factors that discipline typically applies to. And we're going to dive into what does this mean for you and why is it happening. And before we get into it, I do want to talk about repeating cycles. And repeating cycles means a couple of things. One, it means that you are going through cycles repeatedly and it's happening in the same scenarios. It's happening in the same redundant, um, it's happening in the same topic. It's happening in the same relationships, in the same career path. It's the job. It's repeating itself. And then cycle repeating means that you are on a path of repeating the cycle of searching for answers. That's number two, right? So you're repeating searching for answers, and the answers are coming, but you're dismissing it. So you're scrolling on your phone, you're reading a book, you are going on the internet, and you are searching for key factors to help you understand what it is that you're going through, which is really discipline. And you are not following through, so the action of it continues to repeat. So those are two cycles. Um, well, two ways to look at cycle repeating itself. One on the scope of it happening to you in the life lessons because you're not learning from it. So if you don't learn, you repeat, just like school. If you don't pass a topic, a subject matter, you repeat the subject until you pass, right? You get a grade on it. Same thing happens in life. We are graded. We just don't realize we're graded. And the results are what it's reaped from the situation. Whether that is we are loving, so people love us back, or we are hateful and people hate us back. But there is a level to what you reap and what you put in. So when it comes to discipline, what people need to understand is that you are a disciplined person. You're either disciplined in doing or not doing, but there's discipline there. Now, some people might look at it and say, well, if there is no discipline, then how can it be discipline? But it is the repetitiveness of something being done and you are mastering something. So if you are a master of laziness, that means you're disciplined in being lazy. If you are a master at going to the gym, that means you're disciplined in your health goals. So when we look at discipline, discipline tells us a lot about ourselves. So when I say reset, you are now able to gather information in this moment, in this video, to be able to identify the areas that are coming to you that you are wishy-washy on, or the areas that you are disciplined on, or the habits you need to flip. When I say flip, if you're a lazy person and you're disciplined in being lazy and you have a desire to be productive, then you're flipping from lazy to productive. So there is a polar opposite to our experiences, which is manifested through our actions or not no actions, right? And I guess no action is still action. Maybe, maybe not. So, with that, I do want to encourage you that when people question whether or not they can be disciplined, I will say that the answer is yes. What happens is that there are certain life experiences that become more important than others. So if you were that child or are that child who um or I should say if you are that person rather, because there's a abundance of age groups that listen to my videos. So if you are that person who was in school or going through school, no matter what level that is, up to your master's, college, high school, um, and you got an A, that means you mastered the studying, the understanding, you grasped what it was that you were supposed to pull out of that lesson. So therefore, if you can display discipline in one area, that means you can display discipline to do and be more disciplined in better practices in all areas. So let's get into mindset. So, mindset here, we are going to focus on mindset in this moment because everything that we do and experience ties to the way we think and we perceive life. Life can be person, place, a thing, can be yourself, it can be your surroundings, it can be anything. Okay. How you identify a subject and how you perceive it and what you believe into that subject becomes how you are fixed in what you think about it. So if you believe that you are broke, something that I've used as an example for the past 5 years has been the wealth sharer, and teaching others about mindset and financial discipline. And when you say you're broke and you believe you're broke, people have a broke experiences and then they get upset because they don't realize they continue to speak this way of life into the reality. So they're so fixed on the state of being broke financially, spiritually, emotionally. Doesn't really matter which area it is. If you speak brokenness, then it becomes your experience. On the flip side, if someone believes that they can aspire to be anything, if they want to have a business, or if they want to get all A's in school, or they want to have this career that pays them a bunch of money, if they want to have a family and pour love into them, and that is their mindset, that is the belief that they have about life and what life can offer, then you will find that person in that space versus the person who do not believe that it can happen. So what happens with mindset is there are core people who have this experience of either getting and wanting more, and then the flip side are people who feel that they want bare minimum, so that's all they go to obtain. So when you understand where you fit in the picture, you can assess what mindset you have tied to life, tied to people, places, and things. So when you evaluate your how you're perceiving life, whether you're doing it holistically or individually in the different categories that we experience life in, then only then you can look to see what needs to change and you can develop the discipline to change it. So your mindset is it can be fixed, it can be growth, right? But when I say it can be fixed, it can be growth, means you have the ability to shift from one to another. Someone can have a growth mindset in their education, but yet have a fixed mindset in their finances. Another person can have a growth mindset when it comes to their workouts and then have a fixed mindset when it comes to the way they eat. Both are related to health, but they're working out but eating bad. So the discipline there is it's there, right? I don't believe that people are not disciplined. What I'm finding is that people are disciplined in their mindset. It's just it depends on what scope they're on, what level they're on when it comes to their experience. So back to the question. Are you a person that can be disciplined? Absolutely. Do you showcase discipline? Absolutely. You do it every day. It just depends on what it is that you want, where your discipline is more at the forefront to the good habits versus being disciplined in bad habits. But regardless of what spectrum you're on, you are disciplined. So I want to, debunk any myth about discipline not being obtainable. People are disciplined every single day, right? Someone can be disciplined in the mindset of thinking negative, and they're stewing and they're festering and they're pondering over, something that makes them mad and something that made them embarrassed and something that didn't feel good. And they're disciplined and they're obsessed in that thought. So we as human beings can have obsessive traits, and those obsessive traits can be used in a positive way. So understand again your mindset, and it's the way of how you think, what is in your mind, and then it becomes what are you set in? Okay. What are you set in when it comes to what you put in your mind, what you allow to process in your mind, how you perceive your communication skills or lack thereof? So, speaking about communication, we're going to jump into relationships. So, your relationships, okay, there's discipline there or there's not discipline. And when I say not discipline, there is. And I would say there is but then there's the discipline I'm not doing. So it's like, I want to sometimes say, well, there's no discipline, but there's discipline there. You're just disciplined on the wrong side of the spectrum. So when it comes to how you perceive your relationships, you can be someone who received love, so they give love, or you could be someone who felt a void of love, so therefore you don't know what love is. And depending on where you are in that spectrum, you facilitate your conversations and your interactions and your connections vastly differently. And it can depend on the level, right? Whether it's a mother, a sibling, a family member, a friend, a colleague, a stranger. You are learning in your life lesson how to speak to people, and then also how to let go of trauma, of unforgiveness, of things that do not serve you. So when I say things that do not serve you, things that do not serve you is anything that is on the negative space. So if you have hate in your heart towards someone because they did something to you and you are refusing to forgive them, then you're harboring on negative feelings. And what happens is those negative feelings take away from what it is that you should be focused on. So now you're focused on that person, what they did, how they did it, why they shouldn't have done it, what you want to do to them, and becomes this cycle repeating itself, and that relationship is causing you to remove the focus of your discipline being love, comfort, that unconditional relationship where you can give someone grace, being gentle, being patient, being joyous, right? So your discipline that you're learning in relationships tie to the fruits of the spirit. It ties to you becoming more like God and how God wants you to showcase and display love and display kindness. So if you are in despair in relationship, you need to look at what disciplines am I exhibiting and why things are working or not working. And there's levels to it, right? So you can be a husband and wife, and it can be about, somebody's good in managing the household, but yet they're not good with managing, fixing the car. someone can be good with, being organized, and the other person, is someone who does nothing and just lay around. So when we start to pay attention to the things that are transpiring in our connections, then we can see within ourselves what we are disciplined in, whether it is the good or bad habit that ties to those relationships. Okay. So, again, these are the life lessons, and they're all related to you in every way possible you can think about. Okay. When I speak to you, when you're hearing this means you. Okay. So let's dive into finances. So, finances is something that a lot of people are struggling when it comes to discipline. And the discipline is they're they became accustomed to swiping, so it's hard for them not to swipe their card, so they're accumulated in debt, and next thing you know, they don't have the extra income, or the sufficient income rather, to pay things off, so therefore it continues to accumulate, and then they're above and beyond where they want to be in their credit card debt. Or um, example is, someone gets a new car, and that new car has a very high car note, and then they realize that they really can't afford it, but they're kind of stuck with it. So it felt good to get a new car, but with the instant gratification became a remorseful situation. So, finances is something that people are having to understand. There is discipline and practices that needs to happen, and the mindset to understand what it is to be a good steward. So, when it comes to your finances, you have to understand that you are to be a good steward. So, what a good steward means, it means that you plan, you prepare, and you do not allow yourself to become the borrower. Now, I'm not saying that in a way to make you feel bad. I'm saying it to say that there is hope. The hope in the management of finances and the discipline of being a good steward is knowing that you can come out of it. Okay. There is no debt that you can't. I want to say there's no, because I don't know in everyone's situation, but I want to be encouraging to say whatever debt you're in that is causing you discomfort and frustration, and feeling like you're not where you're supposed to be, and feeling like you're behind, and feeling like you could have been doing all these things, know that if you put discipline into practice in the good behaviors, which is cutting up your credit cards and not worrying about a credit score, because trying to keep up with a credit score is causing you to keep in debt, or stay in debt. Another thing is, it's okay to have one card, and create a system where if you put $50 on it, you pay off the $50, and you don't say, I'm gonna pay it later on, and later on never happens. And then next you know, the $50 turns into $50,000, okay, or $5,000. So whatever it is that you're experiencing with your finances, and most people are experiencing hardship or not having enough finances to manage what they accumulated in their credit card, student loans, and their car loans, and even their mortgages. There is a way out. And if you understand that the reason why the cycles are repeating for your finances, that you're finding yourself back in the same situations over again, is because you have not learned that you're supposed to be disciplined in being a good steward, versus you have some people have allowed themselves to let social media dictate that they should live, for now, and not live in terms of saving for their future. Or they, feel like they work so hard, so why not reward myself? And then the reward becomes a disaster. um or they feel like, I'm not going to retire a millionaire, so why even try to obtain to that goal is not reachable, so therefore I'm going to, spend the money that I have. So whatever reason that someone has in this moment that is causing them financial despair, You need to understand that discipline is the reason why you are continuously in the cycle of having bad financial habits because you are having bad financial habits because you are not realizing that the lesson for your finances is this beautiful word, discipline. So, what can you do about it? I want you to take notes of all the things that I said that pertains to you and allow God to reveal to you what it is that is hindering you from becoming the discipline of good habits. Allow God to invoke in you a renewed spirit of good habits. So, an example of good habits is if you know that you're not eating the way you're supposed to be eating. Um, Today, eat good. Another thing about discipline is you don't wait to administer discipline into good habits. You do it now. So don't wait until the new year. Don't wait until the new week. Don't wait until the new month. You need to do it now. So when you put off your good habits and your good discipline, you are creating a space to give yourself excuses. And procrastination is one of the biggest obstacles that many people are experiencing in their life lesson because it's, feels good to put it off and you can just do it. But then you realize later, I should have did it when I was supposed to do it. So if you want to live life without regret, you need to develop good discipline in your mindset within your relationships and your finances. Okay. Game changer. So, at the core of it all, what you're experiencing today, what you experienced yesterday, and what you're going to experience tomorrow, at the core of it is discipline. So, you have to understand what it takes. And all it takes is you doing. So, here's the thing, it's not like you can't do, it's not like you are unable to be disciplined. You just been doing the I don't wanna. Okay. And when you do the I don't wanna, then that's what is fulfilled in your life. You get a whole lot of I don't wanna situations. And those I don't wanna situations turn into nothingness. So I will say this to you. We have this a beautiful, amazing, gorgeous life. Okay. We have the ability to have so much peace and so much joy, freedom, and time freedom, financial freedom, and be able to curate this beautiful, soft life. And it all relates to your relationship and finances and the way you think. So you have this one life to live. Why live this one life of regrets when today, in this moment, you can create a plan, set it in motion, reset, and start doing the good habits that are going to change the trajectory, not just of the wealthy you, but of the wealthy yous that you are connected to. So, the generational wealth that you want and you desire and you think of, you can have it. Everything in your mind that you desire that is good for you, you can have. And the more you fix yourself on being disciplined in the good habits, the more you will see that you can make your dreams come through. Okay. So, discipline is today's lesson, but it's also your forever life lesson.